Before we begin, drop a comment telling us what city you're watching from. And don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10 at the end. The underground art show was packed, loud, and smelling like spray paint and cheap cider. Neon signs bled color across the brick walls of the converted warehouse. Zara Osei stood near the back corner, sketchbook pressed to her chest like a shield. She had on an oversized vintage band tee tucked into wide-leg cargo pants, beat-up white sneakers, and tiny gold hoops that caught the light every time she moved. Her locks were piled high in a messy bun. No makeup except the faded red lip she'd been wearing since 3 in the afternoon. She looked intentional and tired at the same time, like someone who used to care a lot and was still deciding if it was worth it again. She wasn't here to show her art. She was here because her roommate threatened to cancel their Netflix password if she didn't leave the apartment. She was sketching the crowd when she bumped into him. Not like a cute little movie bump. A full collision. Her sketchbook hit the floor. His drink hit her shoes. He crouched down and grabbed the book before she could. He was tall, built in that quiet, unbothered way, wearing a plain white crewneck pushed up at the sleeves, dark straight-leg jeans, and worn-in brown boots that had seen actual life. His jawline was sharp. There was a small scar above his right cheekbone she couldn't stop noticing. He looked like someone who did not belong at this art show but also didn't care. "My bad," he said, handing the sketchbook back without looking at the pages. That surprised her. "You didn't even look," she said. "That's your stuff." He shrugged. "Not my place." Zara stared at him. Most people flipped straight through. "Who are you?" "Eli." He held out a hand. "And you look like you'd rather be literally anywhere else." Bold assumption. True though. She didn't shake his hand. "Zara." He nodded, glanced at the crowded room, then back at her. The piece in the center, the one everyone's pretending to understand. "You did that, didn't you?" Her whole body went still. "How would you know that?" "The way you keep looking at it like you're mad at it," he said. Like it said something you didn't mean out loud. Zara's grip tightened on the sketchbook. Nobody had ever said that to her. Not even people who knew her. "You need to stop," she said quietly. "Stop what?" "Talking like you know me." Eli looked at her for a long second. "I don't know you." A pause. "But I think you've been hiding something long enough that you forgot you were doing it." Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. One message. "We know you have the files, Zara. Give them back or we take everything from you." The phone almost dropped from her hands. Eli caught it. His eyes flicked to the screen. His whole vibe shifted, calm gone, something sharp and alert clicking into place. "Who sent that?" he asked, voice low. "None of your business." She snatched the phone back. "Zara." His tone was not a question. "That number." "I know it." She looked up at him. Her heart was doing something messy. "How?" she whispered. His jaw was tight. His eyes didn't move from hers. "Because the person on the other end of that message," he said slowly, "has been looking for me for 2 years." The lights in the warehouse flickered once. Then went out. The lights came back 40 seconds later. 40 seconds that felt like forever. In those 40 seconds, Eli had moved her away from the crowd, back against the wall near the exit, one arm loosely blocking the space around her like a human barrier. Not grabby. Not possessive. Just there. When the lights blinked back on, she was weirdly not upset about it. "Explain," she said. "Not here." He scanned the room like he was looking for something specific. "You don't get to do the mysterious thing right now." Zara stepped in front of him. "You said you know that number. Talk." Eli looked down at her. Something moved behind his eyes, a calculation, then a decision. The person who sent that message runs a private data network. He collects information on artists, activists, journalists. People who have something worth silencing. His voice was quiet, steady. I used to work for him. 2 years ago I walked away and took evidence of what he was doing. Zara blinked. You're wanted. Yeah. And now somehow I'm connected to this because of what? A text. Because of the files he mentioned. Eli met her gaze. What files, Zara? Her stomach dropped. She thought about the USB her older brother had mailed her 3 weeks ago with a sticky note that said, "Keep this safe, do not open, I'll explain when I can." She hadn't opened it. She hadn't heard from her brother since. I don't know what's on them, she said honestly. Eli exhaled. Your brother. Marcus Osei. She grabbed his arm. You know my brother? Where is he? He's the one who gave me the evidence 2 years ago. Eli's voice was careful, like he was choosing every word. He was inside the network too. He got out before I did. He never told me any of this. Her voice cracked exactly once. She pulled it back together. He never said a word. He was protecting you. And now? She searched his face. Where is he now? Eli didn't answer right away. That silence was the worst thing she'd ever felt. Eli. Where is my brother? We're going to find him, he said. But I need that USB. Zara stepped back. Looked at this stranger she'd known for 20 minutes, who had answers to questions she didn't even know to ask, who had caught her phone mid-fall and positioned himself between her and a crowded room without making it weird. She should not trust him. Every logical part of her brain said no. Come with me, she said. They walked out into the cold night air, the city buzzing below a purple-gray sky. Neither of them looked back. 3 blocks from the warehouse, a black car crawled slowly beside them, windows dark. Neither of them said anything. They both walked faster. Zara's apartment was small and overstuffed with personality. Prints taped to every wall, string lights, 3 unfinished canvases leaning against the radiator. She was wearing the same outfit from the warehouse but had swapped the sneakers for thick socks. The USB sat on the kitchen table between them like a grenade. Eli sat across from her, elbows on his knees, not rushing her. If I give you this, she said, what happens? I get what Marcus hid inside it. Combine it with the evidence I already have. Expose the whole network publicly. And Marcus? If he's being held, exposure is the only leverage we have to get him back safely. He paused. Your brother trusted me once. I didn't earn it then. I'm trying to now. Zara looked at him for a long moment. Then she slid the USB across the table. Eli plugged it into his laptop. The files loaded. He scrolled, jaw tight, eyes moving fast. Then he stopped. Zara watched his expression shift into something she couldn't read. What? He turned the laptop to face her. On screen was a document. Names, dates, financial transfers. Near the bottom, highlighted in yellow, was a name she recognized immediately. Priya Sharma. Her best friend since freshman year. Priya, who had called her 3 days ago asking casually if her brother had mailed her anything lately. Zara's lungs forgot how to work. She asked me about the mail, Zara said slowly. 3 days ago. She's been feeding your location and movements to the network for 6 months, Eli said, voice flat but not unkind. She didn't know about the USB specifically until recently. But she told them enough. The room went very quiet. We grew up together, Zara whispered. Eli didn't say anything. He let her have the silence. Zara stared at the screen until her eyes stopped stinging. Then she pulled in a breath, long and steadying. Okay, she said. Her voice was different now. Harder but not broken. What do we do? Eli looked at her with something that wasn't quite admiration but was close to it. We use it. We let her think she's still in the loop. We feed false information. You want me to pretend? Only for 48 hours. And after that? Eli closed the laptop. After that, your brother comes home. Zara nodded once. Her hands were shaking slightly under the table. She didn't let him see. But Eli saw anyway. He reached across and covered her hands with his without saying a word. She didn't pull away. From outside, headlights swept across the apartment window and stayed. A car. Parked. Waiting. Eli stood up slowly. We need to move. Tonight. They moved through the city at 2 a.m. Eli had a contact, a journalist friend with a safe apartment above a laundromat in the east side. They sat on the fire escape because inside felt too still. The city hummed below them. Somewhere distant, a siren faded out. Zara had her sketchbook again. She was drawing without thinking, the way she did when her brain needed to process without words. You can look, she said without looking up. At the pages. If you want. Eli glanced over. She turned the book toward him. Every page was people. Strangers on trains. Kids in market stalls. An old man asleep on a bench. Every face caught in an unguarded moment, honest and unperformed. These are incredible, he said quietly. I stopped. She closed the book. After my dad got sick. I stopped seeing the point. What changed tonight? She looked at him sideways. I don't know yet. A beat of silence sat between them, warm for 2 a.m. Why did you really walk away from the network? She asked. Eli was quiet for a moment. There was a girl. 19 years old. Journalism student. She got too close to the story and they decided she was a threat. He stopped. I was the one they told to handle it. Did you? No. His voice was low. I warned her. Got her out. Then I ran with everything I had on them. He exhaled. She's safe. She's in another country now, actually in school. But I think about whether I moved fast enough every single day. Zara looked at him. The scar above his cheekbone. The eyes that had seen too much. The white crewneck now wrinkled from a night of running. He looked less put together than when they met and somehow more real. You carry everyone, she said. I dropped enough people first. That's not what I said. He turned to look at her and she didn't look away. Something shifted between them, quiet and inevitable, like the last page of a book turning before you're ready. His phone buzzed. He checked it and stood up fast. My contact got through, he said. Marcus sent a location. He got free. Zara was on her feet instantly. Where? The old port. South Dock. She grabbed her jacket. Eli caught her wrist, not to stop her but just for a second. Zara. His voice was careful. The network is going to want the USB back before we can release anything. They're going to offer a trade. She looked at him. Marcus for the USB. Yeah. And if we hand it over, the whole exposure falls apart. Yeah. She pulled her wrist back gently. Then we don't trade, she said. We find another way. Eli looked at her like she had said exactly the right thing. Like he had needed someone to say it. Let's go get your brother, he said. They took the back stairs. They didn't let go of each other's hands in the dark. The South Dock smelled like salt and rust. Fog sat low over the water. The only light came from a single lamp post near the old shipping containers, throwing pale yellow across the wet concrete. Marcus was there. He looked thinner, tired, but standing. He saw Zara and something cracked open in his face. She ran to him. He caught her. "I'm sorry," he said into her shoulder. "I should have told you." "You should have," she said. "We're talking about that later." He laughed once, rough and real. Then the network's man stepped out from behind the containers. He was calm, middle-aged, unremarkable looking. The kind of guy you'd never notice in a crowd. He had 2 people with him. "The USB," he said simply. "And you all walk away." Eli stepped forward. Zara grabbed his arm. "Don't," she said. "If I give him the USB, you and Marcus disappear tonight and he never touches either of you again," Eli said quietly. "I negotiated that before we came." "And you? What happens to you without the evidence?" "I've been running for 2 years." His voice was steady. "I'm tired." "Eli." "No." Her grip on his arm tightened. "I'm not letting you sacrifice yourself to protect us when there is another option." "What option?" She looked at him, then at Marcus. "Tell him." Marcus reached into his jacket and pulled out a second drive. Smaller. Older. "I kept a copy," Marcus said. 3 years ago. Before I even met Eli. Filed it with a lawyer under a sealed disclosure agreement. If I don't check in every 90 days, it goes to every major outlet simultaneously. He looked at the network's man. "I missed my last check-in on purpose. The clock started 4 days ago. You have 86 days to leave us alone before everything goes public anyway." The silence was extraordinary. The network's man looked at Marcus. Then at Eli. Then he turned and walked back into the fog. His people followed. No drama. No final words. Just gone. Zara exhaled so hard she almost folded in half. Marcus hugged his sister again and then looked at Eli over her head. "Thank you," he said. "For bringing her into this safely." "She brought herself," Eli said. Marcus smiled. He walked toward the dock's edge to make a call, giving them a moment. Zara turned to Eli. The fog moved slowly around them. He still had that worn-in look, the wrinkled crew neck, the scar catching the lamplight. He looked like someone who had been waiting a long time for a night to end and didn't know what to do now that it had. "So what happens now?" she asked. "I don't know," he said honestly. "I haven't had a now in 2 years." "Then figure it out with me." She said it simply. No performance. Just a fact she was handing him. Eli looked at her for a long moment. Then something in his face finally let go. Not broke. Opened. "I don't want to be someone else's story," he said. "I want to be in mine. Then start tonight." She held out her hand. He took it. Behind them, the city began to glow gold at the edges. Morning was coming, slow and unhurried, the way good things do. Zara Osei had walked into a warehouse the night before hiding from her own life. She walked out of the docks holding the hand of a man who had chosen her safety over his own freedom and hadn't even made it dramatic about it. She already knew she was going to sketch this moment later. She already knew she was going to keep it. The end.